That's kind of small. Yikes.
For anyone that isn't aware, the last time I made a video on this subject was a couple weeks back, just after EA Play, where I expressed some of my concerns for Battlefield 5 Gunplay at the time. This video is essentially a recreation of that video, but in the way I should have made it. I am also making this video because it seems to be that no one in the Battlefield YouTube scene has actively criticized Battlefield 5 Gunplay to any extent, or at least offered some insight to explain it in any depth. I don't view myself as an expert, nor do I claim to be. This video is my opinion, and just that, my opinion. Take it or leave it. But I encourage you to watch until the end before you comment or move your mouse towards that dislike button. As you can tell, the previous video wasn't generally well received, and to be honest wasn't presented in the best fashion, and rather rudely. Just look at that like to dislike ratio. It's amazing how just one video can upset so many people. And as a side note here, I love how people tried to bash me for saying that Battlefield 5 Gunplay might be lacking last time, but in the end those people were wrong, and it makes me feel really good about it. So if you want to hear why, just continue watching. After playing the closed alpha and looking at the spread and recoil values on all of the alpha weapons, I think I could come up with a reasonable conclusion about Battlefield 5's gunplay, at least for the alpha. I don't think it's fair to completely judge and write off the game entirely because obviously it hasn't released yet, but we can judge the alpha. So after playing the alpha, did my opinion change? Frankly, no. Playing Battlefield 5 pretty much solidified a lot of my concerns regarding the game. With that being said, what is the best way to use automatic weapons in Battlefield 5? Well, just mag dump in close quarters, microburst at range, or single tap for even longer distances. That's it, you can close the video now. No difficult to control recoil or spread, just spam click mouse button 1 and that's the Battlefield 5 alpha for you. And all I have to say is that this really feels like a step back from Battlefield 1. Before we get to Battlefield 5, let's understand what made Battlefield 1 gameplay both unique and important. The biggest change was the introduction of first shot spread multipliers, or FSSM. In essence, what this does is eliminate the microbursting meta of Battlefield 3 and 4 by causing increased spread on the second shot, and with longer spread reset, a person mindlessly clicking 1 to 2 round bursts would accumulate a lot of spread and would miss their target even if they had their aim on point. Does this make the game less casual? No, it doesn't. Rather, it increases the skill gap even further between experienced and novice players. Some people may be confused as to how quote-unquote random bullet deviation or spread is more skillful to a no-spread game, and here's why. The new changes to how spread worked in Battlefield 1 made bursts longer than 1 to 3 rounds actually viable, and you had to use different burst lengths depending on what range you're trying to engage in. Add in the fact that spread is much harder to read than recoil, and you have a system that makes the biggest skill gap in terms of weapon control that Battlefield has seen so far. A player properly using his weapon with the correct burst lengths, recoil control, and positioning will come out victorious of any firefight against a player who cannot do any of these 3 skill factors to the same finesse. Spread control, recoil control, and positioning is the holy trinity of what makes a good player good. With that out of the way, let's take a look at the MP18 Trench and compare it to the MP40 in this video. Let's compare the 2 spread values against each other on the second shot, and here's how you do it. You take the base spread value of the weapon and add it to the product of your first shot spread multiplier multiplied by spread increase, and you have the spread on your second shot, with each shot afterwards linearly increasing with spread increase. Let's take a look at the MP18 stats. So in numbers, you'll have your first shot with a base spread value of 0.3, which, hint, is the most accurate base spread of a submachine gun the series has ever seen, with Battlefield 1 being 0.3, Battlefield 4 having 0.4, and Battlefield 3 having 0.5. You take this base spread value and add it to the product of your FSSM and spread increase, which are 4 and 0.045 respectively. Do the math, and the spread value on your second shot is 0.48, with every follow-up shot having 0.045 degrees of spread increase. Note that the MP18 is regarded as one of the most accurate SMGs in the game. I am now going to compare this to the MP40 in Battlefield 5. Now keep in mind that Battlefield 5 uses the same spread model as Battlefield 1 with spread multipliers and spread increase. The MP40 has a base spread value of 0.2. Keep in mind that this is the base spread value for a SMG, and this is the same base spread value of assault rifles in Battlefield 3 and 4. Wow. Moving on, the FSSM of the MP40 is 1.7 with a spread increase of 0.02. Yikes, you might start to see the problem here. If you do the math, the value on your second shot is going to be 0.2425, with each shot afterwards increasing at 0.025 degrees. The second shot on the MP40 with FSSM on it is more accurate than the MP18 Trench at base spread. That is absurd in my eyes. So if anyone is wondering why you're getting killed at crazy ranges by assault players, there's your answer. I'd also like to note that spread seems to almost instantly reset when you stop firing, making these extremely accurate shots even more accurate and well suited for microbursting. Not to mention that the value of first shot recoil multipliers for all weapons in Battlefield 5 is 1.0, which is nothing. Except the MG34, which has a value of 2.0, but that's a hipfire only weapon, so I don't think that counts. Now what we have in Battlefield 5 are weapons with extreme accuracy capable of getting reliable DPS on target at ranges which are greatly more than what previous games had. And in cases like the STG or the MP40, reliable engagement far outside of their intended range. Yes, a good player should be able to extend the effectiveness of this weapon, but not to the likes of what is currently in the alpha, which is a bit much in my opinion. The only redeeming factor of Battlefield 5 Gunplay is the new way that they handle recoil. You might have heard that recoil in Battlefield 5 is different than in prior games, and that is true. Vertical recoil increases linearly for the first 5 or so rounds, and these first 5 rounds are what we call the predictable recoil pass that each weapon has. After these first few rounds, vertical recoil then increases at an exponential rate, that is to say in a non-linear fashion. This makes it much harder to predict and control vertical recoil, which has led to some users feeling that the recoil control in Battlefield 5 is hard, and rightfully so. Pitch increase per shot and pitch min and max values are what decides how recoil increases in this game, and for anyone wondering, pitch refers to vertical recoil. What this new system does is forcibly encourages players to fire within their recoil pattern and not mag dumping, and to be honest, this new system actually sounds pretty good, and would help to further the skill gap in terms of recoil control. However, it is completely irrelevant once a player starts to abuse microbursting. FSSM does not make a difference here, as the overall spread values are far too low for them to actually matter, which makes the relevance of FSSM useless. Throw in first shot recoil multipliers of 1.0, and you have a microbursting meta that has no punishment whatsoever to its user. Even Battlefield 3 and 4 had more punishments for microbursting with their greater recoil multipliers, however small of an impact they might have had. I'd also like to bring up the SLRs in Battlefield 5. The Gewehr 43 has a base spread value of 0.1 with 0 degrees of spread increase. With a 3-3 damage model and a 2-shot kill with a headshot at any range, makes this weapon absolutely broken. You can spam fire the Gewehr 43 and bullet 10 will be just as accurate as bullet 1 in terms of spread. Recoil on the Gewehr 43 is extremely manageable as well, and what this does is make the SLRs in Battlefield 5 max rate of fire spam cannons, which is OP in the right hands. As a medic player personally, I don't care if they fix this or not, as I'm liking deleting people unfairly at range in Battlefield 5 at the moment, but it's a bit broken, so keep that in mind. LMGs in Battlefield 5 also work in the same manner as Battlefield 1, with the longer you hold the trigger, the more accurate they become. In the case of the Bren MG, it has a base spread value of 0.3 and a negative spread increase of 0.28. The funny part here is that the Bren has absolutely 0 first shot spread multipliers. This means that you are firing at min spread for the entirety of the 30 round magazine. Recoil increase is the same as the SMGs and assault rifles, so I don't encourage holding mouse 1 at all ranges, because microbursting, yet again, is going to be the only effective way of increasing your range off the bipod. In my eyes, the Battlefield 5 Alpha has failed to actively improve on Battlefield 1 in terms of gunplay. The gunplay in Battlefield 5 feels shallow and simple to anyone who really looks into it. For the average puppy and people who absolutely hated the Battlefield 1 spread model are going to be the only ones who love this new system in Battlefield 5. As for anyone who valued and saw the spread model in Battlefield 1 for what it was, can see that Battlefield 5 is lacking in the gunplay department. Is the game less fun to play? No. I can enjoy Battlefield 5 just fine. In fact, I find the game less frustrating to play due to the absence of a lot of cheese mechanics and additions in games like Battlefield 1 and 4. The lack of arm multipliers is good, however the lack of leg multipliers is interesting. I really want to hear the reasoning behind this change. but there are some huge problems that the game currently faces that hinders my experience from being a smooth one. More on this in later videos. So is the gunplay casual? In my opinion, yes, it is. And by casual, I mean it just feels a lot more simplified, at least in its current state. I can only hope that what they have currently in development is an improvement over what is in the alpha, and I don't understand all these people who say that Battlefield 5 is so much more skillful than Battlefield 1. It seems as if the Battlefield community has gotten some sort of hive mind mentality to think that the gunplay is good. I mean, if everyone is saying the gunplay is good, then it must be good, right? And this mentality is fallacious. Microbursting is not skill, especially when it negates all and any spread and recoil. What we need to do is increase the overall spread values on all of the Battlefield 5 weapons to actually remove the microbursting meta. Whether this is possible or not is unknown, as it may cause some issues somewhere else in the game, and this would also go against the whole no random bullet deviation narrative that DICE has been trying to promote. But if they do manage to adjust the spread and first shot recoil values to give us a system that actually works and does its job, that is when we can finally start talking. Combined with the new recoil system, and we might have gunplay that actually improves upon Battlefield 1 and not taking step backs. So I hope if Drunksy or any DICE dev that is watching this can take this feedback into consideration for Battlefield 5, and I know my viewpoint is in the minority, but I believe my statements today make it clear that something needs to change from alpha to release. Also, if anyone is wondering why my Battlefield 5 alpha videos are generally negative, it's not because I don't like the game, I just believe criticizing it actually helps the game rather than just praising it 24/7. Of course, I may mention good aspects of the game here and there, but don't expect a whole video praising Battlefield 5. If I do, I probably just ran out of video ideas. Anyways, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and actually took the time to watch the video to this point. And unlike last time, I hope I didn't unintentionally offend anyone, so don't worry about that happening ever again. If you want that, just message me on Discord. But anyway, it's been BloodHound, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.